Hi, and welcome to Web3 Unfiltered, the podcast where we examine the systems behind technology, data, and power without the hype or surface level narratives. I am your host, Collins Victory Odabi. Now, there's a growing belief that AI is the solution to almost everything. Better decisions, their faster operations, smarter businesses even. But that belief hides a critical assumption that the systems AI is being applied to are already sound. Because if they're not, something very different happens. AI doesn't just fix the system, it exposes it. It amplifies bad data, weak processes, and flawed decision making, often at scale. And that creates a gap between expectation and reality that many organizations only discover after it's too late. My guest today works at the intersection or at the center of that reality. Joining me today in the studio is Nishanth Sirikonda. He is a cloud solutions architect and AI-driven technology strategist with over a decade of experience designing and implementing large-scale enterprise systems across HR, payroll, and workforce operations. Nishanth, welcome to Web3 Unfiltered. How are you doing today?
Hey Collins, thanks for having me. I'm doing good. I hope you're doing good. Thanks for having me. Again, this is Nishanth Sirikonda. I work as a solutions architect, focused on how systems, data, and AI come together inside organizations. And my role really sits at two levels. On one side, I design how everything should work end to end and how data flows, how systems connect, and how decisions are made. And on the other hand, I get into the tools themselves, seeing how they actually behave in the real world. So, because if you only stay at the design level, you miss reality. And if you only focus on tools, you miss the big picture. And what I learned from the working across both is that most companies don't struggle with AI because it's complex. They struggle because their foundations are not built for it.
Amazing, Nishanth. Thanks for joining me in the studio today. Okay, so Nishanth, AI is often sold as a layer you can simply add to an existing system. Take your data, apply a model, and unlock insights. But in practice, that assumption breaks down quickly because most enterprise systems weren't designed with clean, structured, or decision-ready data in mind. They evolved over time, shaped by legacy processes, compliance requirements, and operational shortcuts. So when AI is introduced into that environment, it doesn't operate on a clean foundation. It operates on whatever is already there. And that often determines the outcome more than the model itself. So, Nishanth, what are the biggest misconceptions organizations have about implementing AI?
That's a great question, Colin. Now, one thing I always say is AI is not a solution layer, it's a stress test. Okay, why I say that? Let me give you a simple example. Think about when you contact a customer support, a bank, on an airline, or an online store. You ask a question, and depending on who you talk, you might get a slight different answers. Now, replace that with an artificial intelligence AI. Instead of one wrong answer, you get instant confidence answers at scale. So, I worked with financial company where their artificial assistant was answering customer questions about accounts, but internally their data lived in multiple systems that did not always match. So the AI started giving a conflicting answers instantly. Now at the tool level, it looked like the AI was the problem. But when you step back and look at the system, you realize the AI was just reflecting the inconsistency that already existed. So AI did not break anything, it just made the problem impossible to ignore. So as of today, all the companies ready to move into the artificial intelligence. That is good because when we started, if you go back like 30, 40, 50 years ago, we deal with the paper stuff, the paper checks and everything. Later on, we came across the banking system introduced the spreadsheets and ATMs, and everybody thought that, oh, we got the ATMs now, the banking tailors jobs are going away. Absolutely not. The ATMs is just taking care of the cashier's thing, which you go and get the money, but the real job, the banking tellers are doing the quality of the work, how they're improving the system. So I'm just telling the difference, like, when your foundation is ready to opt in the new artificial intelligence system, that's ready to move in, but not with your broken system or the broken records, what you have it. So instead of reinventing the wheel, you need to re-engineer, repair the gaps. That's what I always tell my customers.
Amazing, Nishanth. Amazing. And when you look at that, it connects to a deeper issue. Most companies focus on the visible layer, which are the tools, the dashboard, and the outputs. But the real question or the real work happens underneath. We have data structure, we have governance, we have process design. Without that foundation, AI doesn't create clarity, it actually creates noise because it's making decisions based on inputs that may not reflect reality. And that creates a false sense of confidence that can be more dangerous than having no system at all. So in your opinion, Nishanth, why is data quality and system design more important than the AI itself?
Yeah, that's very important. The data quality, governance, and architecture plays a major role. So this is where things usually start to fall apart. Like, a lot of organizations think AI is about to choosing the right tool or model. But in reality, most failures come down to data. Let's take a real world scenarios, like, a retail company wants to use AI to predict demand. But when you look closer, sales data in one system, inventory is in another system, promotions are tracked in spreadsheets, and different regions use different formats. Got it? So now the AI is trying to make predictions, but nothing lines up. The numbers don't match. The output is not trusted. So, like, the immediate answer, the leadership says AI doesn't work. But the tool is doing exactly what's supposed to do. The real issue is in the system. How data is structured, owned, and connected. So this is where architecture matters. Because tools operates exactly on data, but the architecture determines whether that data makes sense. So at once people lost trust in the output, it's very hard to get it back. So because of all these things, what I mentioned, a realistic thing, it's like, the data quality is the first step to take care. The second is the governance and architecture flow, like, how we started this, what we're gonna get an output of this format, and what exactly we're trying to accomplish on the demanding surface as of today.
Wow, really, really insightful, Nishanth. Looking at automation, control, and risk in general, we see that, I don't know if you'll agree with me, that automation is often framed as efficiency. We have people reducing manual work, speeding up processes, and eliminating errors. But automation is not neutral. It encodes decision, it locks in assumptions, and once those assumptions are embedded into systems, they become harder to question because they operate in the background and at scale. So the risk isn't just that automation fails, it's that it works exactly as designed, but the design itself is flawed. So, Nishanth, what are the most common mistakes companies make when automating systems?
Excellent. Now in the existing world, in the fast-paced environment and the competitive world, like, every company running in to make it as an automation because, it's a competition running. If you get a delay in getting the answers, like, 1 to 3 seconds, the other company may grab the deals or something else because customers or the clients are very curious to get the things done like in seconds. Okay, so this is something almost every organization runs into. So I'm talking about the common mistakes in automation. Getting automation is a good thing, but before you going there are a couple of the common mistakes. They see a process that's slow or frustrating, and the first thing thinks is that let's automate it. But they skip an important step here, asking whether the process itself makes sense. So let me give you a couple of more examples. I work in the workday industry. So let me talk in detail about the employee onboarding thing. So in many companies, it already involves multiple approvals, back and forth emails, unclear steps. Then it's get automated. All right. Now everything is in a system, but the complexity is still there. So instead of improving the experience, you have just logged the confusion into software. I'm going to tell you that again. Instead of you improving the experience, what you're facing right now, you just embedded the same thing into your software, which is called as an automation. So I have seen employees say, at least before I could talk to someone and fix it. That's the difference between using tools and design systems. So the tools will execute whatever you give them, but system thinking asks, should this even work this way? So the rule I suggest and I follow is very simple for these common mistakes in automation. Simplify first, then you can automate that automatically. So when you have an existing flow, a process that is simplified, that's where you induce the software of the automation that will work as an expected in a very fast-paced environment, and that produces results very fast way. But without simplifying that, whatever you're giving to the machine, that will give you the same details, same results. Instead of the human doing now, you're just introducing the software. But you did not simplify the first, what exactly you're trying to get. The machine is always trying to get in a speed, but you need to simplify your data, your process first. So that I always say that, simplify first, then automate. Don't rush into the automation.
Well, Nishanth, and this becomes even more critical when you consider security and compliance, because as systems become more automated and interconnected, the attack surface expands. Data flows across systems, decisions are made in real time, and visibility becomes more complex. So while organizations are focused on speed and efficiency, they are also increasing their exposure, often without fully understanding where the risk sits. So how should organizations think about security and governance when scaling AI and automation?
That's a great question. As we're dealing with millions of data, security is not a choice. It has to be mandatory. So in today's world, AI, cybersecurity, and infrastructure, that has to have a separate organization needs to follow some kind of a steps because you need to secure your data. So now what you're discussing, cybersecurity infrastructure, this is becoming very real, very fast. Today, a lot of people use AI tools in their daily work, writing emails, summarizing documentation, analyzing data. But now imagine someone copies a sensitive company information into a tool without realizing the risk. So, or think about an internal AI system that can answer questions across company data. So, if access is not controlled properly, someone could see information they should not have access to. So, when we design these systems, we are not just thinking about capability, we are thinking about control. Who can access what, where the data flows, and what happens if something goes wrong. Because the more powerful your systems becomes, the more important is to make sure it's secure and predictable. Intelligence without control becomes a liability. You have everything, but if you do not have the control on it, you do not have the security on it, it's going to be turned into a liability, because we ourselves putting our data and everything into a risk, in the company's data everything into a risk. So cyber security, artificial intelligence, everything, and infrastructure plays a major, very critical role in every company and every organization. A lot of people thinks that let's do it, let's do it, let's go for it. But what's the plan for the data security? You have it. Nobody, smaller scale companies don't think about the data security, but the bigger companies always have a plans for the cyber security, how to deal with when we get kind of an exposure of their own data.
All right, Nishanth, you have a very, very valid point there. Intelligence without control becomes a liability. Now, when we bring that into Web3 conversation or into the Web3 conversation, a lot of decentralized systems assume that transparency and automation solve trust, and that if rules are embedded in code, the system becomes fairer and more efficient. But your experience suggests something different. Well, a bit different. That systems are only as good as the assumptions they are built on. And also that complexity does not disappear, it just moves. So, Nishanth, why do Web3 builders, in your opinion, what do Web3 builders misunderstand about scaling real-world systems?
I mean, this is something I see a lot with startups. So I'm just starting from there. In the early days, speed is everything. So teams move fast, they use whatever tools are available, connect things quickly, and focus on getting results. And now that's the right approach at that stage. But over time, things change. So now you have more customers, more data, more teams, and suddenly reports don't match. Process slows down. Teams rely on manual workarounds. So I worked with startup where each team had its own system for tracking customers. Sales, support, and finance all had a different views. So individually everything worked, but when they are tied to scale, nothing is aligned. So, and that's when they hit a wall. That's the shift founders often miss. So, this is founders misunderstand about scaling systems. So I always say that as you grow, the system matters more than any individual tool. So scaling is not about adding more, it's about making everything work together. So users, what I'm trying to say is, we got from the legacy system to the modernization and moderation into the artificial intelligence. So in the legacy system, there are 100 people working on multiple things. But in the modern system, that became to the only 50 people are taking care of it. But now, as the 50 people's or the 1,000 people job is taken care by the machines, we need to understand what are the tools we are using and how that's getting an efficient as per the company norms and as per the company protocols, build based on your governance, data security, and everything. So using the right tools is always good, but at the same time, you need to have a control on the machine or the tools. The way you are, how you want to use the tool, you need to decide. Not the tool gonna decide what you're gonna do. Alright? So it's about making everything work together. You see that as a tool has your assistant, not like us taking a total control of yours. That's all I always follow and I always suggest.
Interesting. Many people don't see these tools as assistants. They give them 100% control. And it can affect a lot of things because even in highly engineered enterprise environments with strict governance and oversight, things still break. We have processes drifting, data degrade, and assumptions go unchallenged. So the idea that decentralized systems will somehow avoid these issues entirely is worth questioning. Not to dismiss them, but to ground them in reality. So, Nishanth, do you see decentralized systems solving these problems or recreating them in a different form?
That is true. Centralized system, again, I'll go back to my statement. The machine, you need to control the machine cannot control you. The machine is just like an acting on behalf of you, taking care of, because you're handling 100 things, the machine is now taking care of your 99 things. The one thing you're gonna do is teach the machine how you want to, how that machine needs to work with you. So if I have to bring all of this together, I would say this, artificial intelligence does not transform organization on its own. It reveals how well they are built. And the difference I see across companies is this: anyone can learn tools, but building system that actually works, that scale, that people trust, that stay secure. That's where real value is created. And that's really the shift happening right now. AI is no longer just a technology conversation, it's a systems conversation. And the organizations that understand that are the ones that will move forward the fastest.
Thank you so much, Nishanth, for the insights. And in all of this, there is also a human layer, I believe, because as systems become more intelligent, we have the more roles changing, or the roles of people change. Not necessarily less important, but they become different. From doing the work to interpreting, validating, and challenging what systems produce. And that shift requires a different kind of thinking, less about execution, more about judgments. And I could ask how AI is changing the way teams make decisions and collaborate. But then, I don't know, I think I'll leave you to answer that. How is AI changing the way teams make decisions and collaborate?
The artificial intelligence only changing the speed of the workflow, and still the decisions and everything has to be controlled by the organizations, because in order to say something to the machine, that has to become from the organization. Yes, this is the product we are talking about, this, and this is what we're gonna do it. These are our future plans and everything that is available. So what you fit into the system, that's gonna talk. And along with that, have we applying the emotional intelligence task to the upcoming artificial intelligence machines too? That will take a liberty and getting some more information based on the history we fit into that. As of today's world, previously we used to maintain the data centers like a big sizes. But now when the cloud is got introduced, that just became a pocket size of your data that is storing there. The millions of data is storing there. So we have to see this, an artificial intelligence is always an upgrade version for your helping hand, not like a company is like putting themselves into your trouble. So couple of people ask me, how do we use AI? Especially the companies ask me, how do we use AI? So before asking that, the better question is your organization ready for it? Because that answer determines everything. I understand in the competitive world that every company transform into the artificial intelligence. I get that. But is your system ready for it? Because if your system is not ready, nothing gonna change. The artificial intelligence will explore all your inconsistency, the data and everything. But not like that's gonna really helpful for you.
And Nishanth, for organizations starting this journey, the biggest risk isn't falling behind. I think it's moving too fast without understanding what they're building. Because once systems are in place, they are difficult to unwind. And mistakes at the foundation level tend to compound over time. So lastly, Nishanth, if you could give one piece of advice to organizations starting with AI, what would it be?
Again, my advice is only see the AI as your assistant, as your helping hand. That's not gonna replace you, but again, that will replace when you're not teaching, when you're not maintaining the data, what you want to do, that's gonna replace you, but not exactly. The artificial intelligence cannot replace the humans. The human has introduced the artificial intelligence with giving billions of millions of data to compromise in that one. So see the AI agent as an upgrading option for you to get it, work it more and fast and fast-paced environment. I would say that.
Amazing, Nishanth. Thank you so much for an incredibly grounded session. If you have, do you have any final notes for our listeners before we wrap up this episode?
Thanks for having me again, Web3 Unfiltered, Collins. We had a great conversation. But to talk about more about on this topic, or you want to touch base with me, you can always the listeners can reach out to me on my LinkedIn. You can just type Nishanth Sirikonda, you'll find me there. But these are great conversations that has to be started now, and it's growing around the world. And now the technology is going very fast paced environment. So I would say the younger generation, those who are coming up, just speed up, because you don't need to worry about the things that has to be taken care by yourself, because the machines are here, but you need to learn now how you teach the machines.
All right, Nishan, thank you so much. I'll be sure to add your LinkedIn to the show notes and description so that our listeners can reach out to you. Okay, so in this episode, we've understood that AI is often framed as the future, but in reality, it is actually a mirror. It reflects the systems that they are built on. And if those systems aren't or are unclear, they're fragmented or maybe even misguided, then AI won't fix them. It will only scale them. And that's what makes understanding structure more important than chasing tools. Just like Nishan said, anyone can make tools, but then we need to understand these structures more importantly than chasing these tools. And that wraps up today's episode of Web3 Unfiltered. A big thank you to Nishanth Sirikonda for joining us. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and keep building.